Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It is me, Rich, just me tonight, solo. But hopefully you will get your comments flying in to today's performance against Manchester City, which ended Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1. Also going to try something new. I have put the link to the StreamYard, to the link to the channel, to the show, sorry, in the chat. So if you want to come on, please do click the link, join in the show, come and have your say with me live. What you thought? There's plenty to talk about. The starting lineup, Mings out, Chambers coming in, the poor first half, the slight turnaround second half, the fact that we're conceding very, very easy goals. Do we criticise the coach? What's happening with set pieces? So yeah, click the link. I don't bite. Come on, join in the show. You can come on, ask a question, make your comment, and then jump off. Whatever you want to do. But the link to the StreamYard to come on live on the show is here. But yeah, get your comments in. And we'll any questions, any comments you want to make, just in the chat, we'll talk them through. Really random reviews is in. He's here. Evening, fellas. I need to run out, but I'll leave the stream on. Try to catch before the end. No problem. Belgian villain told you we would lose. I'm always right. Yes, mate, you were. Rachel's here. Hi, all. Yeah, guys, if you want to come on, please do. Please do come on and have your say on live on the show. Told you we would lose. I guess to start with, we best talk about Tyrone Mings and him not being in the side. Now, obviously, that was a bit of a strange one before the game. Chambers coming in, and I think two things are the main point with that is that one, obviously nobody knew about it till the actual game, which is fine, but and Mings is not going to be back in probably 2 or 3 days, he reckons. So that's going to be, hopefully he's back for next week. So we'll hope on that. But it does show the lack of quality we've got in our squad. And Chambers, yeah, fair enough. When he was signed last year, did okay in his first few games, and that's all that tends to happen. When players come in, they tend to do pretty well. And then because I want to try and impress, but I think we've seen like he's just not of that quality, and we need Carlos back really, really, really badly because he just hasn't got that quality. And obviously, playing on the left-hand side of the two, he just wasn't comfortable at all. So yeah, I think we kind of knew the writing was on the wall when, as soon as Chambers was in the side, because Mings did really well against Haaland in the original game when we drew 1-1, and physicality, speed. Chambers just didn't have it. Penno is in. Hi, Rich. Shocking first half. Seen worse teams show more fight than that. Yeah, we'll get onto that, mate. We'll get onto that. Adam said expected a loss. Just wish we didn't look as poor as we did in that first half. Yes, Mings was injured. Yeah, we got that. Gary, hi, Rich. Was fuming with that first half display. Reminded me of the Gerard Rain and knew in the first 10 minutes what was going to happen. Absolutely, mate. Michael, good evening, mate. If you like, I say that the link to jump on the show is at the top of the live comments. So do click that link, and if you want to come on and talk about the game with me, just please do. Please just jump on. You're more than welcome. But yeah, I mean, talking about that first half, I think, and this goes to a wider point, like the way that we're conceding these goals at the minute. I mean, the first half, first 5 minutes to get a corner, and it's just so easy. And I know Watkins has said that it was his fault and he didn't block a runner, but positionally we were terrible across that first those first couple of corners. They didn't really have to do anything. They blocked a couple of runners, and then Rodri has a free header. And I don't think Martinez covered himself in glory either. I think he could have done better with it. So it was just an absolute shocker, really, and it just puts any chance of it. Anything that a coach says in their team talk is keep it solid. Don't give away anything stupid. Don't give away any soft goals. And then within 4 minutes, you're fighting a losing battle. And we'd actually cause them one or two problems, turning their defence, and then just to throw it away with a set piece is just so bad, and it's just schoolboy defending, to be honest. And you can't be doing that against teams like Man City, causing our own problems. So yeah, it's just so frustrating. And then throughout that, I think that kind of set us up on the wrong foot. And City, they're obviously going to keep the ball. They're obviously going to do well with the ball, but it you just can't afford to do that in that game. And then we kind of get a bit more of a foothold in it, force of one or two mistakes. But if you haven't got the quality, I mean, Junior says it there. Bailey drives me mad. What does he really offer? There's got to be a better option. He's lightweight and too hit and miss. Watkins was up to on his own, and that's the point. I mean, Leon Bailey as well. What is he? What is he bringing to the team? Um, what what is he contributing? Because it seems to me that he plays for about 5 minutes at the start of the game, and then just loses it. His touch is bad. He doesn't know what he wants to do with the ball. Um, there was an incident where he went in for a challenge, and um, and I think it was um, Diaz who slid in and made a great tackle. But his first touch was so bad, and he could have been in. He could have been in, and you can't rely on players like that, especially up front, especially away from home against Man City. You need players to hold the ball up, and you need players to take the pressure off, and it's just not happening, and it's just not good enough. And I've given the guy a lot of time. I know Kev is one of his biggest critics, and I've tried to defend him, but I can't defend anything like that. It's just so bad. It's just so bad. Um, yeah, Gary said if these bench players can't do a job, don't buy them in the first place. Chambers and Concert together are like Shaggy and Scooby, always mucking up. Yeah, even with Mings out, with no excuse to be that poor at the back. Midfield and going forward also looks awful. Yeah, I agree, Adam. I think I was talking a lot in various WhatsApp chats and stuff about how we're getting pulled all over in midfield, and it just showed that lack of physicality in that midfield. Rodri just absolutely dominates us when we play Man City, and you've got Luis, Kamara, Buendia, and Ramsey, and I don't think Ramsey touched the ball for about 20 minutes in that first half. And it just shows the lack of physicality that we've got in our team. Again, it just highlights it, and they were getting pulled all over the park. There was gaps everywhere, and we were very, very, very lucky to stay 1-0 for as long as we did. We didn't really have any threat going forward, didn't really have any chances, and we knew that a second goal was going to come, and then it's just calamity for after calamity for that goal. Chambers was probably waiting for a call from Martinez. Martinez comes out, he's in no man's land. Chambers heads it out, and then we still get players back. Can't get a tackle in, and Haaland puts it across for Gundogan again to score. And he's got 5 goals in his 4 appearances against Villa, and he knows he's going to score against us. Basically, Rodri always knows he's going to score against us, and that was my other point I put on Twitter. How can we concede such easy goals against Man City? And a wider point is the last 2 games we've conceded 7 goals, and all of them have been ridiculously easy goals. No team has to work hard to score against us, and it's that soft underbelly that we've got again, that weak character that we've got. No one really taking any responsibility, no one putting their foot in, no one closing down, no one having a go at anyone, and it's just so frustrating to see. Michael says it's clear from today how much we need Mings in this squad, but I would not push too hard on Carlos for this season as his injury was very serious. Yeah, I agree, mate, but I just think even having him on the bench, Chambers and Conte are right-footed, so more comfortable on the right side. And you could see that, Rachel, when the ball went to Chambers, every single time he was having to cut on his right foot and then play that pass upfield, and so often it was coming straight back to us, or he couldn't really find a pass on the floor. And I don't understand that as well. Like, if I know it's Man City we're playing against, but we still should be able to create angles. We still should be able to play passes into feet. Um, it's it's just a case of being big and wanting to get on the ball, being brave, and we just weren't brave enough in that first half. On the performance, the team showed no fight, no intensity, could not keep the ball when we had it. It was very, very poor, absolutely. There was nothing. Yeah, Gary, I agree. They were scared, and the Bailey and Dina shit show continues. Yeah, Dina, man, what is wrong? What's happening with him? I'd love to know what you guys think, because is it a case again of like you sign someone in January, they want to impress, and then it's been a slow decline? Is he carrying some sort of knock? But he looks too slow. He picked up 2 fouls, and then his third foul, he gets a booking off Mahrez. I think he won the ball off him once. And I was very surprised he wasn't taken off at half time again. I think the only reason why he wasn't is because he got taken off at half time last week, and I think that would have killed him if he'd have done it again. But yeah, I just don't see what's happening with Dino at the moment, because it was absolute. It was like night and day when Moreno came on. Totally different. So yeah, it was just so strange. So strange with Dino. The same with Ramsey. I really don't understand what's wrong with him. Gareth was talking about it on our Talking Tactics show the other day, and said that he's not quite getting used to the system that Unai Emery is playing, and I have to agree. Again, first half, I think he had one run right at the end of the first half, but other than that, didn't get on the ball, didn't do anything, didn't try and get on the ball. So, yeah, I think Jacob Ramsey needs to look at himself as well, because if you're looking at 4 players in attacking positions, in Buendia, Ramsey, Watkins, and Bailey, I mean, there's only really one of those 4 that's doing anything like what they should be doing at the moment, and that's Watkins. Bailey's doing nothing, and Ramsey is, since he's come back from injuries, looked really, really, really poor. And I'll get on to second half. Some of the better performances, and you guys can let me know who should be playing in the next game, who shouldn't be playing as well. I've put the link in the chat again, so please, if you do want to drop on, jump in the show, click the link, and we can talk about it. Let's have some more comments. Belgian villain again. Kamara was the one trying to mark Roger in that corner, lost him, and they scored. Yeah, he was, but I think Watkins had mentioned in his interview that he got blocked off as well, and it was his responsibility. So I think it did definitely look Kamara's fault as well. I think Ashley Young as well was in no man's land. I don't know where he was standing. So again, it was just a bit of a mess. And please, if anyone can tell me what Austin McPhee does as a set piece coach, then I'd love to know, because I want his job. Because I think we're at the top of the tree in terms of conceding goals from set pieces, and pretty near the bottom for scoring goals off set pieces. So whatever he's doing is not working. So yeah, let me know what Austin McPhee does, because I'm really not sure. Before Leicester, we were quite solid at the back, and now we've conceded 7 in 2 games. Totally agree, Rachel. And the worst thing is I don't think. I mean, if you combine the yardage of those goals, I doubt it would come to 30 yards. They've been the easiest goals that anybody would ever score. And that's really concerning, because we're giving the ball away. We are not marking from set pieces. Yes, granted, today one was a penalty, which was very soft, which we'll get onto. But if you're expecting to win football matches, especially against tough opposition, you can't be giving goals away like that. I don't want to see any of our defenders today in the Villa shirt next season. Dina, Konsa, Chambers, and Young look older, sadly. Yeah, I think the games are catching up with Ashley Young. Maybe it's time for Cash to come back in. Konsa, I would say, deserves a bit of a stay of execution, but certainly Dina and Chambers, and then Young kind of needs to be maybe rested for a little while. this is why us fans kicked off about transfer deadline day, because there's players there that won't perform 3 out of 4 games. 100%, Gary, 100%. I don't know whether it was just the targets that we wanted we couldn't get, or we were talking about things about maybe it's not worth having players that are just going to sit on the bench. But I don't know. It's just a bit of a mess at the moment. I really don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Should we have kept a Sanson back? Should we have kept Nakamba when they're not going to play? Or should we have really gone all out to get our targets now? I don't know. I really don't know what the answer is. But even the likes of Louise, Kamara, even one or two others, Konsa, like we've said, you ask them to perform consistently for 4 or 5 games and they can't do it. They can't do it. So what are we going to expect against Arsenal next week? Are we going to be going into the Everton away under Sean Dyche and a rejuvenated club, possibly going to get a result tomorrow night against Liverpool? Are we going to go through into that game now in 2 weeks' time? Are we really expecting to win that game? I mean, it is going to be tough. Tough. I've got my man Penno joining me. Hello, mate. Oh, I think you might be on mute, mate. Try again. No. Yeah, jump back in. Yeah, so it's going to be really, really difficult coming up against Everton in a couple of weeks. I really don't know. Belgian Venice said, Gary, you're right there. Need a massive summer. It's always the same, though. It's always the same. Paul Welford's joining us. Hi, Rich. I was wrong. We were terrible in the first half. We need new centre backs. A left back, right back. Get rid of Dina, Conza, Chambers now. Man, it is. It's frustrating. 7 goals easier than a kid's crossword. Michael says, I agree. We needed more players, but if we can't get the players we want in January, we should not start making the mistakes of the past. Let's wait until the summer. Yeah, it's just thinking about it now, though. Are we going to be dragged into it? I mean, conceivably, we can lose against Arsenal next week. Then we've got a tough game against Everton, and I think we've got Palace, then we've got West Ham. Are we going to potentially get dragged into it? I don't know. Gary said Blaming's getting injured. Definitely. I don't know, mate. I don't know why he was injured. Penno is trying to join us, but he said Man City were playing a free and we only got in behind them once in the first half. That was in the first few seconds, virtually playing Mahrez and Grealish as wide forwards / wing backs. That was puzzling as well. Bernardo Silva was playing left back. I mean, surely we could have exploited that. It's just baffling. We just didn't have the bravery. We didn't have anything like we showed them way too much respect in that first half. And yeah, just couldn't get anything going. Rachel said, I felt from the images shown by Villa, the players look so unsettled and lack of belief. Yep, just said that, belief. Luca Dean was Matt Target's identical twin today. I think I'd rather have had Target, to be honest with you. Ramsey struggling. Ramsey lucky to be in the team. Yeah. Jacob run ragged. Emmy Martin has put apology to the fans on Instagram. Yeah, well, I guess, he made a couple of great saves, didn't he? So he came out of it with a bit of credit. Didn't really have any chance of, well, I say he could have done better with the first goal, actually. I just hope they put it right next week. It's all well and good apologising and stuff. I don't, that's fine, but you've got to put it right on the pitch. That to me, I'm the players can write what they want on social media. It's fine. They'll take the praise when it's due for them, but they won't when it's Hello, mate. Just I think you're still on mute there. Might be jump off now. There you go.
Am I there?
Yes, okay. Yeah, there you are. How are you, man?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, mate. Well.
Apart from the result.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I caught a bit of your match reaction. So, yeah, man, what did you think of the game in terms of? I know I'm just going through the first half here, but yeah, just general thoughts first of all, mate.
Um, the first half was shocking for me, to be honest. From kickoff, I know we had the initial opportunity after the first 10, 15 seconds with Bailey. But apart from that, I thought it was really, really poor. I've seen other sides, who supposedly have much worse teams, like sides than us, much worse players, just show more quality and fight at the Etihad. And City were just all over us that first half. I think the XG was free XG in that first half, which
Yeah,
is, and ours was like 0.08. That tells the whole story. That first half, we didn't
yeah,
turn up at all.
it was exactly, and it was like almost like we were. I didn't quite know what we were trying to do because we weren't necessarily sitting off. We definitely weren't pressing them. It was almost like we were just waiting for them to give the ball away, and then we'd try and do something. But
Mm.
City aren't going to give the ball away that often.
Exactly. Well, it hardly happened, didn't it? It hardly
Yeah,
happened at all. We didn't see the ball for the majority of that first half. And when you can see the goal like that after 6 minutes from a corner, it's just all downhill from there, isn't it? Really?
absolutely. Yeah, and I've talked a bit about certain players, but I mean, what do you think? What is it at the minute with Bailey, with Digne, with Ramsey as well? What do you think's going wrong there?
Bailey's such a weird one because I've tried to defend Bailey for the longest. I thought a quality player, Champions League football, come over to the Premier League. We saw glimpses last season, against Everton. He got the unfortunate injury. And then in pre-season, he came in the Man United game. He had a really good game in that pre-season tour in Australia. Started the season well in bits, scored some crucial goals. The one against Man City at home.
Yeah,
But recently, he's just been so off it. His touch for me, and the one big one today from that Diaz tackle. I know the tackle might have been a foul, but his initial first touch was shot.
yeah,
And that just allowed Diaz to get in for the challenge. And I just don't know what's going on with Bailey, to be honest.
yeah. It
Yeah,
just
it's
seems like
strange.
a lack of confidence mixed in with wanting to try a bit too hard, but also then ultimately, I don't know if he's quite got the quality because he seems to start a game like really determined. And for first, if you look at his goals that he scored, generally they've been first 5, 10, 15
Yeah,
minutes, like
yeah.
starting the game off with a bang. But then as the game goes on, he tends to, either the player is playing against gets used to what his style is, or he drifts out of the game. And I think the problem is that we are, and this is the same with this has been Villa throughout the years, is that we buy these attacking players and we rely on them so much because we don't have anybody else.
Yeah,
It's like if
yeah.
Bailey doesn't play very well, it's like, well, we've got nobody else to rely on. Or if, thankfully Watkins is playing pretty well at the minute, but if he starts not playing very well, who else have we got?
Well, it
You
looks
know?
like it's going to be John Duran now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I
The
know.
way
Now
he
we
came
now
on
we're going
today,
mad
like,
about him. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um,
After 2 10-minute spells, I mean,
I know.
he does
But
look good though.
he did. He came on. He affected the game. The one thing he showed was heart and desire. As soon as he came on, that first goal came from him showing, passion to try and retrieve the ball, intercepting it, going to Douglas Luiz, and he played the ball through to Watkins. But we've seen 10 minutes against Leicester and 35 minutes today. He's a 19-year-old just coming over to the Premier League. I know he's showing glimpses, but who knows? Who knows what he can offer? But he did look good. He did look good when
Yeah,
he came on.
yeah, exactly. Um, Gary's team picks itself next week. Marino, McGinn, and Duran in for Ramsey, Digne, and Bailey. I don't think that we can argue at that, to be fair.
No.
Michael says Digne seems to lack confidence, scared to push forward, and panicked when he had the ball. Just onto my point here about Austin McPhee. Club appointment, another one who's lucky to be there. Belgian villain said Austin McPhee is just auditioning for Nanny McPhee, scared our childish players with his useless tactics. It does seem a bit strange that we're not great off set pieces, though. And I know
It
it's been
does,
the same
doesn't
for
it, for a
quite a
set
while,
piece?
but
Yeah, especially defensively. I mean, when's the last time Mings and Konsa scored from a set piece as well?
I honestly I
Can you
can't
tell me that?
remember.
Is the last one Conza Leicester at home last season when he got a brace?
Probably.
So that's over a season, I think
Yeah.
now, since
I mean,
either
I know.
centre back has scored from a corner
Yeah, it's
or a
so
free
poor.
kick.
It's so poor. I know. Obviously, Chambers scored against Leeds, that really good goal, but that
Yeah,
wasn't a set
wasn't really a
piece.
set play, was it? No.
No. Dina scored a direct free kick this season, and then we scored a well worked set piece. But honestly, I can't. I know obviously Louisa scored a couple of direct ones, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't rely.
From
You
your
can't be
centre back
relying on
scoring.
that. Yeah.
Nah, nah. Our centre back scoring from corners or free kicks just doesn't happen. And I think under Smith, that was one of the good things we had from set pieces. I remember Mings and Konza scoring a few goals from set pieces
Yeah.
under Smith. But recently, over the last season, I can't remember a time when our centre backs have scored directly from a set piece at all. And then defensively, well, yeah, it's not looking good at the minute. It really isn't. There's just, I don't know whether it's because we zonal, don't we? We zonal mark. We're not man to man.
Yeah.
And statistically, zonal marking, there may be times where someone's left free, but statistically, over a number of set pieces, corners, etc., it's meant to be quite beneficial. But we always seem to get caught out from it. There always seems to be like Emery Bundia left on the biggest or tallest player from the opposition team, who will eventually have a free header. And today, Rodri just had loads of space to run into and just picked his spot, really. Nothing Kemi Martinez could do about it.
Yeah. Well, I actually think as well, Penno, that we have. But this has been a case I've probably been beating this drum for so long. We're just a small team,
Mm,
and when
mm,
a team has, City are quite big physically
yeah,
as well as everything else. But you've got Walker who's not small. You've got Diaz. You've got Rodri. You've got Laporte.
yeah.
You've
Ake,
got Haaland.
Akanji,
Yeah,
Haaland, yeah,
yeah. We've got. I guess today we had Chambers and Konsa who were tall,
yeah.
and that's
And then
probably about
Duran when he
it.
came on, that's
Yeah,
it, that's it. Yeah,
we've got no
literally.
height, so
No.
off set pieces we're gonna be weak because we haven't got the strength or height in those defensive areas. And we talk a lot about like whether you need big players or whether you need this or that, but set pieces, attacking and defensive set pieces are really important in the game. And if you
Mhm.
haven't got those players who are big and strong, then you're gonna suffer. And
Yeah,
because I took your point about teams that have gone to City or teams that have gone to the big six and done well, and you look at Brentford in
they're the
particular.
prime example right now, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're
they're
taking points
big.
off everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't mess about.
yeah. You've got players like
They're
Ben Mee, Ethan
yeah,
Pinnock, really big. Ivan Tony.
Ivan Tony. Yeah,
Did you
physically
see? Did you see
imposing.
against Saliba yesterday? The duels one. He won like the majority of duels. Saliba won 0 of 10 in the air, and we don't
Exactly.
have that. We don't have that
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. So yeah, it's a real thing that needs addressing in pre-season. But I, I've been saying it for so long that it's I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously, me saying it isn't important, but I think most Villa fans can understand that. Yeah, we can see it. Like we're just physically weak. If we come up against a team and we start off quickly and we get on the front foot, great. But as soon as we're asked to kind of get into any sort of battle, we're really struggling.
We really
Uh,
do. We really do.
yeah,
And it showed that first half. I mean, from just as I've said, from when they scored the first goal, you could just see the floodgates opening. It was a typical Villa performance, conceding early, and you just knew against a big side we weren't going to come back into the game. There's no
exactly.
chance.
Yeah,
And even still, to be fair to us, when Watkins scored, and then we had that opportunity with Moreno putting it across, I did think, oh, there was actually a little glimmer there. If that had gone in at that point, I think it was the 75th minute around that time. There was a little glimmer because Coutinho came on, and I know you haven't discussed it yet, but I think he really changed the game when he came
he
on.
did. Yeah, I
Different
mean,
level.
yeah. Well, we'll go through a couple more comments and we'll talk on some of the
Yeah,
changes in the second half. Credo's joined us. Said Duran needs to needs to start with Watkins, drop Bailey, McGinn back into shore at the midfield, and stick his arse out. Yeah, lol. Drop Dina. Yeah, Kevin Hunt. Not enough leaders in the team. Too many mentally weak players. You never see anyone dish out a few bollockins. I 100% agree.
yeah,
I didn't expect to win, but at least compete. Yeah,
yeah.
I think
Agree.
that's a disappointing thing from everyone,
That's
Junior. To
that's
be
the main
fair,
thing for me. Yeah,
yeah, just
definitely.
competing. Um, David said, "Don't let Emery off the hook. We did not look like we had a plan, and he picks Bailey, Buendia, Dini, and Ramsey every week." Yeah, I mean, does Emery deserve some criticism for that first half? I know he said it was our worst
I
since
think
he's been
today,
there.
yeah, I think he got it wrong from the off. To be honest, in my opinion, when you play a team like City in the main, I know it's difficult to match them because of the quality of players they have. But the times where I see City dropping points and losing points is when someone applies something back in, like pushes them back in some form.
Yeah,
We didn't do that. We set up with Ramsey and Buendia playing into that six, the 6-2-2 that we've seen on many occasions, and that just invites pressure from City. And with the ball players they have, if they're going to cut you open or score early, it's difficult to change it from there on in. And once they got the first goal, it just and I thought we did that again, even when we made it 3-1. I thought we just dropped back and they just kept. There was a period of time where
yeah,
they kept the ball for 5-10 minutes. We couldn't even get close
killed
to
the
them, and
game.
we
Yeah,
proper
yeah,
killed the game off.
I
Yeah,
agree. And I did say this a few weeks ago. I said obviously we were getting wins, which was great, but I wasn't 100% sure with us dropping back so deep. When we went 1-0 up or 2-1 up, because if a team does get that momentum or does kick on in the game, it's really hard to then change up.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
what I've not been as impressed with under Emery at the moment is, barring the first game against Man City, we haven't like gone after the game. We went 2-1 up against Leicester last week. That was the opportunity to go 3-1, 4-1, and really stamp our authority on the game.
mm.
Today, like you say, when we got it to 3-1, that was our chance to go and try and get back into the game,
'Cause-
like really
yeah.
get back into the game.
Because if you
But we,
lose 4-5-1, what does that
yeah,
change? It
yeah,
doesn't change
exactly.
anything. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I've been quite disappointed with that. Now, whether that's because he hasn't got the players yet, I don't know. But football's all about momentum, and if you've got that momentum, then you've got to go with it. And
yeah,
I've felt that we've tried to engineer the wins a little bit too much than just go with the game and just go after it. Um,
yeah. I agree. There's times when it works. Like we've had some performances. Spurs away was a perfect example. We set up in that formation and they couldn't break us down, and we caught them. We caught them cold
yeah,
twice, and we deserved to win that game. But against teams like City today, who like to keep the ball, um, I think it's a poor tactic. As in, you've got to push them back. You've got to make them think about something going their end, going towards their goal. And we just didn't do that at all throughout the game. I
yeah,
don't even think we caused them that much problems at all.
yeah, yeah. Michael says, guys, the faults were there for all to see today, but I believe we'll beat Arsenal next week. More importantly, Emery will have a big summer ahead of him. He'll definitely have a big summer ahead of him. I'm not
Mm.
too sure about Arsenal next week,
Yeah,
though,
me
mate.
neither.
Um,
Yeah.
we played well, really well there last season. We needed the same team under a dodgy manager, but this was awful today. Yeah, Edie says, I think it's clear Emery is saving the money he's being backed with to buy the players he wants to build the squad around in the summer, hopefully. Adam,
Hopefully,
is
yeah.
it bad to say I'm kind of sick of wait for next season? Well, yeah, yes and no. I
And
think I totally understand it, because it's almost like I don't know. We get into this stage with Villa all the time, mate, don't we? It's like if we win a couple of games, it's like, right, we could push for like top 10, or even like dream of like Europa Conference League or something like that, like competing.
yeah,
But we lose to, and we're like, we could be looking over our shoulders here.
yeah, yeah,
And then the pressure's on. Like I've
yeah.
said, like are we going to beat Arsenal? Probably not. Are we going to beat Everton away? It's going to be a tough game
It's
now, because
difficult now.
Sean
Dodgers
Dyche
come in.
always
Yeah.
gets the better of us.
And we had from what 12, we had a healthy like 7 point gap. And that's just dwindled. It's 4 points now, I think. And there's a few teams there on four. And it's just like, how so quickly can things change after 3 games and suddenly you're looking over your shoulder again and like, oh, we could be in 15th after the Everton game. It's crazy. Like
Yeah,
it's really hard
yeah,
in this league, and when you lose a few games, things can just turn very quickly from where they were before. So yeah.
exactly. Well, before we get into the second half, we've got to talk about it. And before we do talk about that, guys, great numbers watching. Please do leave a like on the video. If you want to join in the chat like Penno has in the show, just click the link and we'll get you in. Have your say. And yeah, please do subscribe. We are 14 away from 1,000, so I think we're at 986 last count. So yeah, please do subscribe
Get
if you are
subsiding,
new.
guys.
Yeah. Hit the like and subscribe to Penno's channel as well. He does his match reactions, match previews. I think you're getting close to 100, mate, aren't you?
Trying, we're getting there,
Yeah,
Rich. We're getting
yeah.
there, slow
Good
and
man.
steady.
Good
Cheers,
man.
mate.
Good man. Yeah, we've got to talk about it. As Gary said, even Grealish is taking the mick with that dive against the club he loves. Come on, mate. What did you think about that?
I'm speechless. The thing is, though, I weren't surprised. I was speechless,
Yeah.
but I weren't surprised. Yeah,
Against Ramsey as well. Like,
yeah, of all the
kid
players,
who probably looked up to him,
him, yeah.
cleaned
What,
his
do
boots probably.
you remember the pictures of Ramsey at Blues away when he scored the
Yeah,
equaliser,
yeah.
and he's there
Yeah,
going mad for his equaliser,
yeah.
and he's done that? It's just like, yeah. I don't know.
I can't believe that VAR didn't take
Well,
a
yeah,
closer
and
look at it.
yeah, it's a weird one because Grealish has gone across him, but Rams. I don't even know if he's touched him. I still don't know if he's touched him yet. I think possibly a slight bit of his kneecaps caught his left leg, but he's clipped his own leg and then just fell in stages into the floor, and they've given a
Yeah,
penalty, and it's
I
just
mean,
like
even that
the
fall.
theatrics, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's the
I thought he
theatrics.
was going to give a yellow card to Grealish. Like, I
The
think
way he flails his arms and stuff, and we've seen it many times. We can't lie,
I
we've
know,
seen
I
it many
know, I know, I
times.
know.
We've seen the same thing, but would that
They
be
never
giving us
used
a
to get given
penalty?
for us
Yeah,
though.
would that be
They
giving us?
never used to get given for
No,
us. You
no.
know that one against Crystal Palace. Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
And we
yeah,
scored. We actually scored, but he
yeah.
pulled
And
him
it
back
got
to dive it.
disallowed in the last
Yeah,
minute. Yeah,
yeah. Like, I don't know. It just does leave a real sour taste in the mouth, to be honest. Um,
a real sour taste, and like he's for like the remaining Villa fans that were possibly there supporting him. He's just gone straight down after that. I think with a lot of Villa fans,
yeah,
especially from what I was seeing on Twitter anyway.
yeah, because even I don't know. I know he put on something saying like got the 3 points, good to see old friends and stuff like that or whatever. But I don't know. Just even though you're trying to get the 3 points for your team and you need to win the game, he didn't need. I don't know. He just didn't need to do that. It didn't seem like he needed to do that, to be honest.
Yeah, the 2-0 up, comfortable, and yeah, not a fan of it. And yeah, Grealish has really gone down in my estimations after that one. If
Yeah,
he
I
hadn't
think
done already,
exactly. I think the feelings are mutual from everyone. Grealish is such a diver. If he loved Villa, he wouldn't dive like that against us. Can't believe Grealish had the audacity to clap the Villa fans after the dive. Um, but yeah, so same again. Just loads of comments about a couple of comments about Grealish and stuff. But on to the second half, mate. And I think where is it here? Yeah, Gary said, look, we know Emery is the man as the two players he brought have improved us in the second half, and I guess that is one of the positives that we can take out of it. Like, it probably leads to a question of should those players have started in the first place, but I think all of the players that came on in that second half had an impact.
for sure.
Particularly Duran, Moreno, or actually McGinn had a good second half. Duran looked good. Moreno, obviously, we know he's got those attacking options, and then Coutinho looked really sharp as well.
That's the best I've seen Coutinho play for a long time, for sure. Um, it's a weird one because when a team's 3-0 up and you change a game, it is, they're at the level where they're comfortable, they're 3-0 up, they're cruising.
Yeah,
So
good point.
any change within a game, albeit it was significant as we got a goal, like straight away from those 3 subs being made, and then looked a much better team. It's a hard one to judge for me because a team they're on cruise control at that point.
Yeah,
Well, you can't deny the impact that Duran and Coutinho made for sure. With especially Coutinho, he was everywhere. He was winning the ball back. He was playing lovely
did he
balls. He
hit
had
the
that great
bar,
shot. I think
or was it a
Ederson just
save?
clipped it. Yeah, I think he just
Ah,
clipped it over the bar. But
cracking shot that was.
oh, it was a great shot. I thought he was going to cross it, and then suddenly he just hit it out of nowhere. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but yeah,
No,
I
I
thought,
was.
yeah,
He's looked good. He's looked good, and Duran gave us that physical presence. He seems to have the pace of Bailey, but obviously much more physical
yeah.
presence. Now, whether he could last a full 90 minutes, yeah, I
That's the
don't know.
thing. That's the
But
thing for me.
you could get 60, 70 minutes out of him, I think, by now.
Yeah, for sure. He's just how much of a nuisance he was. He was jumping for balls that weren't even there to be won at times. I think it was against Laporte. He jumped for one, and he must have jumped about 3 yards ahead,
Yeah,
just to cause a
yeah,
nuisance, just to be a problem, which is something we don't really have. Someone who's just an absolute. It was similar. I don't know, not the finishing, but in the aspects of his game to Darwin Núñez to me, just
mm.
causing trouble for the defenders. But he seemed to have a bit about him, especially with that shot at the end.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant. That
That was
just
ridiculous.
off the
Yeah.
cuff, and I think until he kind of learns the Premier League, so to speak, he's going to be quite an off the cuff type player, isn't he? Like he'll move into different areas. Like he was pulling out wide, he was picking the ball up deep. He tried to have a shot from 40 yards,
Yeah.
and then he had that volley. And he's going to try things that I think until he kind of finds his way in in terms of getting coached. I think he's going to try that, but that could be what we need because it's going to be unpredictable. Imagine him next week against like a Saliba or something. If he's had a tough game against Tony, he
Yeah.
comes up against Duran, and then it's a it's another big man. It's another tough game that he's facing. So yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully he's played himself in.
Yeah, definitely, Rich. Sometimes in football, um, when you don't know what a player can offer and the unpredictability is sometimes the advantage to that player. And it happens a lot of the time. Sometimes a prospect out of nowhere, 19 years of age, just shows up because they don't know how to deal with him. They don't know what he's good at, what he's poor at. I remember, like Rashford when he came to the Man United side. I'm not saying he's the same level of player, but he was so unpredictable. No one knew what to do with him. And I think Duran can he's shown glimpses today that he can be that type of player where no one will know what to do with him and he can score goals. And I'm
Yeah,
sure the goal will come soon because from that shot,
mate, he
shot
couldn't
alone, I was
get he
just
couldn't
like,
get much closer.
yeah,
That would have been one of the goals of the season, to be
yeah.
honest.
The way he brought it down on his
Yeah.
left knee and hit it first time, yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean that you got to take a bit of heart from that, mate, because we scored the goal. Then, like you said before, Moreno had that cross across the box, which could have hit anybody. Coutinho had a cracking effort, and then Duran adds that effort. We did have. I think we did give a decent account of ourselves in the second half, albeit the fact that Haaland went off, and
Hmm.
as you said, City were 3-0 up. So there are some encouraging signs out of that, but we just can't afford to be giving teams three goal head starts. And same against Leicester. You can't afford to be at home
Yeah,
conceding 3 goals in the first half. It's
yeah,
just it's criminal, to be honest.
yeah. It's a shame, really, because of the run we've been on, and then the last two games, it's a real hit straight back down to earth moment. And after seeing those two
Exactly. Yeah.
performances,
Exactly.
to see
Exactly.
these 7 goals, you're just like, when will it change? Like, when will that change happen? And hopefully it's the summer. Hoping because it has to be for me. It has to be the summer because
We've got to make some big signings, and I think Adam said there Martinez has talked about winning the league and wanting to be in the Champions League. If we don't make it in the next 2 seasons, I'll be worried. But even a couple of windows might not be enough,
mm,
mate. I actually think he could be gone in the summer.
so do
I
I.
really do.
So do I. To
But
be
if you
honest,
get 60, 70 million for him, there's decent keepers around for 15, 20 million, and then
yeah,
you reinvest the players. And, the likes of Bailey could fetch money. Um, so,
yeah. I'm at the point where there's not many players you know happy to stay or happy to go. I'm at that point. There's probably a handful, if that I want to stay at the club, and I won't have any feeling towards if Emery decides that they're not, if they're surplus to requirements or they want to remain in the
100%,
squad. I'm at that
100%, mate.
point really
Yeah.
because after 4 seasons, our highest position's been 11th.
Yeah.
If you want to improve, let Emery do what he can.
Exactly, and
Yeah,
players who need to be coached to his style, if they're not going to be able to do it, like you say, we've got players that have got value now. It's not
mm,
like back in the Championship days where we could only sign players and every player we could let go of had to go away on a free.
yeah,
Now we can actually get money for players. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. I agree. Paul says, why doesn't Emery have Duran Watkins paired together with midfielder Ramsey, Phil, Cam, and Dougie, Cash, Mings, Constance, Marino, Martinez backline? It's not a bad team, to be fair.
I
Not a
think
bad
you might
team at
see that
all.
front two
Yeah,
soon, definitely.
I'd maybe put McGinn maybe in for instead of Ramsey at the minute, but
Yeah.
that's a bad side.
Mm.
Rachel said, yeah, echoing the point, we have to be careful. We could be dragged into the relegation zone. Big problem we have is the scattergun approach of transfers with managers with different styles. Yep.
100%.
Um,
When you see the net spend totals recently, I saw another table the other day. We're 6 in Europe, and it's just like how
yeah,
how
yeah.
is that possible?
We'll get dragged in playing like that, especially with teams at the bottom picking up. Yeah, Bournemouth picked up a point. Everton, like I say, possibly going to get a result. Obviously, Leeds didn't get a result, which is pretty good. Leicester are picking up now.
Mm,
Forest have been
mm.
on decent form, although they lost. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
we've
not
got to make
worried.
sure we get wins. I'm not
I'm
worried
not worried,
because
but
y-
yeah,
you get a
I
couple of
hear where you're
wins
coming
and
from.
you get a couple of wins, and what we're on 28 points. A couple of
Yeah,
wins puts us to 34 points. I think we'll be fine from that. But yeah, it's not good to to be like you said, the highs of that run and then to drop down again. Even though we probably thought we'd lose today, but it's just
it was the
mixed in
manner.
with kind of last
Yeah,
week and the manner of the defeat. Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
Paul agrees, thinks Grealish is a cheat. Cash is a weird one. Imagine being kept out by a 37-year-old. Although I do think the game's sort of caught up with Ashley Young today.
Mm,
I did
it
feel
did.
like, and I think maybe Cash would come in for next week, especially with Saka or Martinelli running at him. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
probably better for Cash to come in.
He put a late one in on Grealish, so always forgive him for that performance.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I hope some results go our way and we start picking up points again from Everton. Yeah, me too.
Don't discount out the Arsenal game just yet,
No,
mate.
you never know. They're
You
not on
never know.
great form. They're not on great
Yeah,
form, and obviously Emery against his old club.
at Villa Park, you
Yeah,
never know. You never know.
yeah. Deontay, hello everyone. Sorry I'm a bit late. Don't worry about it. I think the less said about the game, the better. Although I will say that I think Duran should start against Arsenal. I agree. Bailey will try his hardest one game. Next game, he'll do as much as Liz trusted as Prime Minister. Same with Buendia. Buendia was just quiet today, wasn't he?
Yeah, didn't
Couldn't
get
get
on the
in the
ball at
game.
all.
Nah. Didn't mind the result, but this display drove me nuts in the first half. The second half is how we should have played in the beginning. Absolutely. How can Buendia be really good against Leicester, but really lackluster against City? I just don't understand. That's our team. That's our team summed up
Literally,
in
just
one
squad
player.
Villa. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
Just Villa.
yeah, you could swap Buendia for Bailey. You could swap Buendia for Louise. You know, we've been praising Louise to the heights. You know, a
Mm,
couple of
mm.
weeks ago, I know he got an assist today, but wasn't
Uh,
fantastic today.
yeah, I think Douglas Luiz is the only one of our players that is the last few games can hold his head up. I thought he was decent
Yeah,
against
yeah,
Leicester.
yeah, yeah. But I
But
just mean like in
it's
terms of that.
inconsistencies.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I do think he's been okay. And as you said there, putting his foot in. It's never going to be an easy game, but
No,
and for me, you're always going to give chances away against City. It was
yeah.
just the ease of the chances, and then just the kind of capitulation. Like we just
Mm,
didn't look like we were going to push them and do anything.
yeah.
Um,
Agree.
yeah. Let's be honest, after pre-season, a transfer window or squad is lacking quality all over the pitch. We can see the goals at Sunday League. Why we can't question the manager? Well, I think we have. I
Yeah,
think
I
we
think you
have.
can. I think that's
Yeah,
feasible. That is
yeah.
feasible.
Um, I think Bailey is going to shape up, or likes of Nico Williams and Sarr could take his place if we get them. Well, I think Nico Williams is potentially a good shout for us.
Mm,
Bailey's a bench player for next season, but him and a few others don't have the consistency yet, which we need 3, 4 games in a row. But let's not have a meltdown. Yeah, I agree. I
agree.
agree. We don't
Agree.
need to melt down. Like we said, it's just the manner of the defeat. Um, let's be fair. If our media team can't get the team sheet right, how can we
No,
expect to beat City? That was crazy. That was
that was a joke, wasn't it?
absolutely crazy.
Firstly, they had to. I don't know if this is true, but they had to apply to the Premier League to get Duran on the bench, or something. There was something to do with that because there was only 8 players named on the bench initially,
I'm sure
which
they'll
is just
get a bit.
shocking.
I'm sure they'll get some sort of like, I don't know if it'll be a fine or some
Yeah,
sort of like
there'll be some
warning or
action, won't
something
there?
because it's
Yeah,
because it's like it's administration, isn't it? It's
yeah.
poor admin.
Mm,
Um, we concede and don't score from set pieces. So what is he bringing? It's been like that under multiple managers now. Yeah, I think we've talked about
mm,
McPhee there.
mm.
Absolutely. We always leave ourselves short in forward areas, don't we? It's all well and good having Bertie back, but he's never fit and should have pushed for a winger, even if on loan. Absolutely, 100% agree.
Well, we
Dan
returned
Juma was
yeah,
available.
yeah.
Um,
Bednarek went back on loan to Southampton, so there was a slot there, wasn't there, as well?
yeah,
So,
whether they tried to get someone in, I don't know, but it's puzzling that we didn't. Rich,
mm,
I want to see Nanny McPhee and Langer gone in the summer. Not good enough. I agree, mate. We have a 6'6" centre back and a 6'3" centre back, and we score no set pieces. Yeah,
exactly, agree.
Emery unfortunately got the team and tactics wrong today. We had Sinisalos and Swinkles and Zik on the bench today. No Olsen, Traore, Carlos, and Mings. That's worrying. Yep.
Yeah.
The only thing tactics wise, did anyone think Pep would pretty much go with 4 forwards? Well, I think there was a couple of things tactically that he did slightly different that we probably didn't expect. He played like Bernardo Silva out towards that left back area,
Yeah,
and then he came right into midfield. He played Gundogan further forward, and then, as Rachel said, pretty much had, like Haaland was right up top, and Grealish and Mahrez just didn't come back at all. So
no, they were right up there, weren't they?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so he
Which,
definitely went attacking, and I guess psychologically, some of what had happened in the week, whoever came up against City this weekend would have faced a bit of a battering,
yeah,
particularly in the first 15 minutes.
yeah,
The problem is that we capitulated within
yeah,
5 minutes of that from a set piece.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Of all the goals to concede to
yeah,
City, a set piece, it's
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah. They were good. They were going to come at us, but if De Bruyne had scored a screamer, or Haaland had have been played through and he'd have held 3 players off or something, then you
yeah.
could say, okay, fair enough. But it was just so
It
sloppy.
was the manner and the second, the Chambers header, and yeah, it's just the manner.
Yeah, yeah. We need centre backs over 6 foot striker mids who are strong. Yeah, I must admit, was shocked how weak we were. Yeah, just I'm not. It's just the way that it is. City looked up for it today, says Gary. Luckily, they eased off the second half. Credo says Grealish has done it so much for us in the past. Still didn't like it though. Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
Agree.
Mark says Ramsey catches Grealish's leg, I think, which causes him to Tom Daly, really endearing himself. Yeah, Coutinho getting some praise, deserves time.
Mm-hmm.
Coutinho ups his game against the bigger teams, it seems. So play him instead of Buendia against Arsenal. I think he
I think you
probably
might.
could.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
possibility of that.
Coutinho should stick as the impact sub. It works better for him. Rich, in a weird way, I think other players I want sold now: Chambers, Digne, Bailey, and if we have sell Buendia, then we don't see any next level for him. It's a weird one with Buendia because I do think there's a player in there, but
His name, yeah.
I don't know if there's that productivity that he used to show at. I mean, yeah, he used to show
Yeah,
at Norwich, and that was
yeah.
predominantly in the Championship.
It's a difficult one with Buendia. I think he has the ability. There's no doubt. I don't think about the ability, but there's sometimes gets ushered off the ball, or he doesn't play the simple pass for me in the final third areas, and it's like Wendy should be able to retain the ball. You're good enough to do that, and he'll just give the ball away sometimes. But then there's other games. I thought Leicester was one of his best games I've seen for a long time. I thought he was quality
He
that
was
game.
excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I've given him a
so,
lot of criticism, but I thought
yeah,
he was
same.
excellent.
Yeah, so there is a player there, but he's another strange one. There's many players at Villa that are strange players. Inconsistency. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, True City fan is on. He says, "Hi, how are you, lads? Drop a like. Yes, definitely drop a
All right,
like.
mate.
If you want to jump in the show, mate, and come and have your say from a City perspective, please do. I've just posted the link in there if you can, even if it's just for 5 minutes. But I did want to just touch on someone who deserves a bit of praise, mate, is Ollie Watkins.
Yeah,
I've read, I think AVFC Stato put in his comments about in the 10 games that Emery's been involved in, or managed, he's had 7 goal involvements or something
yeah.
like
Four
that.
four goals, 3 assists now. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is
Um, it's
it,
yeah, it's it's
we,
it's it's good, isn't it?
I think with Ollie Watkins, when I look at him as a player, I think his all round game does helps us so much in the side. There's someone to keep the ball up top, to hold the ball up, and there are instances where he misses chances, but a lot of players miss chances for me. I think he offers so much within the team. He's essential. He's essential at times. And then now he's in a rich vein and form as well. And this is under a new manager. 7 goal contributions in 10 games. He's showing up. He's been one of our best players under Emery. He really has. And long may it continue with Watkins, because there is a player there. There always has been. It's just sometimes when he's not, when he's not scoring, his head goes down a bit at times, and fans they see and get on his back quite a bit, I feel. But he offers so much, and when he's in scoring form, he's one of our best players for sure.
And also today, a lot has been said about him needing lots of chances before he scores. But I think if I remember right, he had that one chance today, and
yeah,
he
scored it.
scored. So
That,
and
that, that,
he tends to perform against the big teams as well.
yeah, for sure. And that would be one of my peeves with Watkins. He used to just blast the ball when he was in goal scoring opportunities, goal scoring situations. Instead of placing it or finishing it, he'd blast the ball quite a bit. But I remember the finish against United in the cup where he dinked the keeper. This one today where he's just placed it round Ederson, really put it in the bottom corner. That's what I like to see from Watkins, and
thinking about it.
Yeah, thinking about his finishing instead of just blasting the ball. And he's starting to do that. So yeah, I think Watkins is crucial to us, to be honest. And long may it continue with him.
Definitely. We've got Patrick who's joined us from True City Fan. I think you might be on mute, mate, but thank you for jumping in on the show. You also said that we were a little bit unlucky today. Your fans decided to have a big, massive day, and the team was pumped. So yeah, what did you make of City today, mate?
Yeah, it's thanks for having me. I just came from work, so I'm not even going to do the reaction for my own channel, but I was like, let me just pop and just give my 2 cents. I just came from work, watched the game again because I was watching bits of it. To be honest with you, what I meant is you guys, I think were like, it was just one of those games where I think even regardless Aston Villa scored, it was going to be difficult for you to keep the lead because I was speaking to a lot of locals in my previews, and the ones I know in the groups, they were already organizing this for the past, since they had the Premier League thing. They were organizing flags and a Champions League type welcome. So it was already a day that they were not. I don't think they were going to let the players lose it, because they said we're not going to let them. People will be singing Pep's name. You could hear them singing. So I think Villa came in, a team that gives us trouble all the time. Even in the past, it's draws or 2-1, very narrow 1-0s. I think we came in on a day where I think they were like, whoa, what have we come into today? So, to be honest with you, your team, I like them. There's a team in your team that I think can be very dangerous. And I said this before, that I think Aston Villa deserve to be higher than they are most times on the table. With the players you have, I think Unai might be the right man, because the reason why he's here is because he's won Europas, and he's a specialist in that trophy. So the match overall, what I can say is City was pumped. As I said, they were playing better. Pep decided to go to the old heads, the people who have won him the trophies, the new people who he was playing them because they were the ones smiling in training or the ones in form. He decided to just drop them and put a few people. Now you can also notice there's a difference when difference when Diaz is in the team, which I've been saying for years, because he shouts. You can even hear him on TV shouting at the ref, saying, "Look at what they're doing." You need somebody like him. You need a voice, and him and Laporte were good today. You can also notice as soon as Diaz steps out of the pitch, we concede again. Easy goal. Akanji, as good as he has been, you can see why I've been going online telling people Akanji has to realize this is the Prem. It's not Germany being smart defender. You have to be physical here, because I'm pretty sure if that's Diaz or Laporte getting there, they're going to tackle Watkins. You know what I mean? Like, Diaz wouldn't care. He would tackle him, try to get the ball off him. But Akanji is very smart. He's been caught out this season with ball watching. A lot of games we've conceded. But to be honest with you, Watkins is Watkins. You know yourself. If he goes through, he will put it the right way. Look, I admire your team. I have never had. You're one of the teams I actually sit down and watch, Aston Villa, and I've never had anything bad to say about Villa. So fair play. I think you guys will be fine this season. I think with Unai, it was good to bring him in early instead of being too late like other football clubs like Southampton, where now it's too late. I don't even know if they're going to rescue themselves.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we touched on the physicality of you guys, and yeah, I think had Diaz been on and not Akanji, I think he would have stepped across and got the tackle in. And we touched on the whole week that City have had, and Pep was pumped in the press conference, and I think whoever they would have come up against this weekend would have faced a a fired up Man City, and that's what we came up with. But I guess our disappointment, myself and Penno, was the fact that we conceded a stupid set piece within 5 minutes. It wasn't as if it was as I say, a screamer from De Bruyne or Haaland, like smashing it in. It was a set piece that you shouldn't be conceding goals
You
against,
see,
from anybody.
yeah, you seem to. I don't know. I saw you very vulnerable today in like set pieces,
Yeah.
and I was shocked.
I've been on
I was
scene.
like, yeah, maybe look, the guy you signed from Sevilla, I think he's a leader. I like him. City wanted him. Uh,
Carla. Yeah.
yeah, it's just unfortunately he got. That's bad. That must have felt bad for you guys. I was like, oh my god, look at this guy. He just came to this league. He wanted to come to the Prem. That's why he wanted to come to City last time, and he comes in and gets injured. I just saw like you were vulnerable, but overall, I don't know. I'm impressed by Villa all the time, regardless if it's Gerrard's Villa. It's just that maybe the dressing room was gone with Stevie,
Mm.
but I have seen you guys. You always play good football, even under your other manager. When you guys beat Liverpool by 7, which was one of the happiest day of my life. But to be honest with you, you guys play good football. The second half, I think you came up, you came to life, and I think City were now thinking of Arsenal. But I can still
Yeah.
give you guys credit because you guys were playing good football. And Coutinho has always wanted to score another banger against City. He's popular for doing that. But let me just ask you a question, you guys.
Yeah.
Just out of interest, right? Do you think Unai is the way forward? Like what you've seen so far, like do you believe this is a manager you should stick to? Because as I've said, he's a guy who's won the Europa before, and he's sort of a guy who takes over a team that has potential, like your team, and makes them European giants. To be honest, he's done that before.
Yeah. Penno, do you want to take that first, mate?
Yeah. In regards to Unai Emery at Villa, in my lifetime, I don't think we've had a manager of that caliber come to the club. In my lifetime, anyway. So when you get a manager of that caliber, you have to put full trust in him. And for me, I do. From what I've seen now, I do. I just feel like he needs the players that he wants within the club. It's all well and good showing glimpses with the players from a Gerrard squad, plus parts of a Dean Smith squad. But he deserves time now to get his own players in and implement his style, which he has been doing with the current players, albeit the last couple of games, it hasn't quite gone to plan. But yeah, I have full trust in Unai Emery at Aston Villa. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think he was the best manager that we could have got at the time. And it was pretty much a real coup for us because I think he turned down Newcastle for whatever reason. And yeah, I trust him. My fear though is us Villa fans can be quite fickle at times, and we were saying the same things about Steven Gerrard when he came in, and I know it feels different at the moment, and we do have a style of play. Emery's got a definite way of playing, and Gerrard didn't really have that. But we were saying this around this time last season. We were close in games and we were winning some games. My fear is that we'll be in exactly the same position this time next year, saying, "Oh, give a new manager some time, wait till the summer, and he'll get his players in." That's my only concern. Like whether the fans will give. If we have a bad start to next season, for example, are the fans going to give Emery that time? That's what I worry about. But I certainly think he's the best manager that we could hope for, and I just hope that us as Villa fans do give him time to put his authority and stamp his style on the club.
I think that's a big one, Rich. Time, definitely, because there's not many better managers we could have got, and
No,
for
but
the
like
experience he has,
if he's like
he's-
struggling in 15th position, Villa fans aren't going to be happy this time next season.
I
And
agree. I agree.
that's
But
how
What's
it works.
there's not many.
okay?
There's not many managers who could come in and
No, I mean
who else do you get?
he's got to be
That's a
given the time
serial
and the
winner.
funds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you guys want? maybe let me ask that.
Well,
Like, okay,
that's the
what
thing.
what
Yeah,
exactly do you guys? Okay, let me just ask, and let's just pretend as if it's not you're not speaking for your own. Okay, let's say you're speaking half for your fan base. What you're thinking they want. Okay, do you guys what do you want? Would you sit down and say this Villa? Because I told you that I think this Villa team has to be with the players you have. What I see, because I can pick a lot of players and bring them to City from your team if ever I was given a choice. Douglas, I still cry to the day of today why they refused us that visa, because that guy is very talented, and I was
Yeah.
disappointed when Jared dropped him, because Jared looks like came there to pin authority that he thinks he had because of Rangers winning for Rangers. But what do you guys want? Because I think you can be seventh, sixth, maybe
Yeah,
even
well, I
push
think
five
that's it.
with,
yeah,
with
I
the
think
players you
that's
want.
it. I think
Sixth,
that's it. I
seventh, and a
don't.
good cup run. That
Yeah, I think that's it. Like
trophy. Yeah,
pushing, yeah, challenging for a Europa Conference League spot and a good cup run, which we ironically had the season where we lost to you
nearly
in
went
the
down. Yeah,
Carabao Cup, and nearly went down. But I think just a bit of consistency and the ability to finish and challenge for like top 8. I think that's about it for Villa fans, because we tend to win 2 or 3 games and then we'll lose 2 or 3 games. And I understand the Premier League's difficult, but I think Villa make in their through the well, it is a fault of theirs. You read the social media and you do all that sort of stuff, and they act like a big club. They say all the right things, but then they demonstrate what they then demonstrate is a small club mentality. We don't sign the players that we want to sign. We don't necessarily back the managers as fully as we want to. We don't compete against the bigger teams in terms of like mentality. So then we end up losing, and then when there's games that we quote should win, we end up getting beat. So you throw all that together and you end up with a team that's going to finish 13th or 14th in the Premier League. And all we want really is to finish, like I say, like Penno says, challenging for that Europa Conference League, having a bit of consistency. And when you see teams like Newcastle flying, you see teams like obviously Leicester at the moment are struggling, but they're pushing back up. You see teams like Brentford, Brighton,
Brighton.
Fulham
Yeah,
ahead of us. You think, well, why can't that be Villa?
yeah.
And if we just
And
had some more consistency, it could be.
and when you see they're spending a quarter of what we've spent in the past few seasons, it just gets you thinking. It's like what's going wrong? What's going wrong with that?
Exactly.
In all fairness, before I go, that's why I'm saying I don't have anything against Villa.
Yeah.
There's certain teams I just hate them because they have this behavior of showing up against certain teams and then they don't turn up against this team. But Villa is always consistent to give you a fight, regardless who you are. It's just that if I look for player to player for player, even that Newcastle team, trust me, some of your players are better than some of the Newcastle players. I think that's what maybe you sit down and think that why?
That's the
Because
frustration.
yeah, like
Yeah.
let's be honest. Let's be honest. Buendia was wanted by Arsenal. Buendia was wanted by a lot of teams, but he came to Villa. But if you look for even Watkins, there's strikers that he can be better than. That better than he's better. I don't rate Mitrovic, even though he's scoring. I don't rate him at all. I just think he's just a bully who scores.
Yeah.
But Watkins, I think, is more skilled and much better. If you look at your like Leon Berry, who is somebody everybody wanted at a point in time. Like you've got ballers, and I'm telling you, if you compare yourself to Newcastle, it's not there's no like your ballers are actually better. It's just that Newcastle have a system that's very defensive and they don't even score goals. I don't know if you guys have noticed they've got so many draws, they don't score goals. It's
Yeah.
just a good
No, the
defensively. But
yeah.
you guys, I just feel like your team, if you were to compare with the teams you just mentioned, your team is actually has got better ballers and people who you can say, this team has to be sixth, has to be fifth, and this team has to be one of the teams causing trouble right now. And maybe in next few seasons, Aston Villa's name has to be competing in one of the top fours. It's just because you guys bought players that I thought when you bought, I was so scared. I was like, they're buying good players.
Mm.
But I think maybe Unai has to be given time. You're right. I think your fan base has to be patient. I think Villa deserves to be in the Prem. I like even people were complaining about that VAR decision. I didn't care. I liked you guys more than the other guys who wanted to fight for that position. So fair play. Anyway, thanks for having me, man. And
Yeah. Thanks, Patrick, and
Pleasure.
all
good
the
luck
best
with
for
the
the
season.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
too. Good
too,
luck with the
mate.
season. Yeah.
Cheers,
Thank you.
mate.
Hopefully, we beat Arsenal for you next week.
You should be asking that. Hopefully, we beat Aston on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got them on Wednesday. Yeah. Well, good luck, mate, and thanks for coming on.
Nice speaking to you, mate.
Quick look at the stats, and then we'll finish up, mate. But yeah, I just wanted to give the tail of the tape today, and kind of see how it looked from a statistics point of view. So yeah, not surprisingly, City had 67% possession, Villa almost 33% possession, 9 shots on target for City, 2 for Villa. So I think we did all right to keep them down to 3 goals.
Yeah.
To be fair, 17
yeah.
shots, we had 6 shots. Passes, look at that, 613 passes to Villa's just under 300. A lot of clearances for us, quite a few corners in the game, and you get 4 corners away at City, mate, and you've got to be thinking you need to get at least an attempt on goal from one of them 4. And as you said before, we just didn't do anything from corners, did we?
No, we didn't. There's no threat whatsoever.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we competed, and I think a lot of that was shown in the second half. And that competed wise. So, but ultimately, mate, it doesn't make any difference. We got beat. I think we, as we said, as a lot of people have said, we thought we would get beat, but it was the kind of manner of that first half. And I just hope, and I think one of the things that Watkins said, and I think this is probably something that Gerrard wanted to bring into the team, but didn't put it across in the right manner at all.
I know
was
we're going
that
to say
the players need to stand up and take responsibility for mistakes. Yeah. And I think that Gerrard did want to bring that in, but for whatever reason, he just went about it the wrong way. But I just hope that Unai's kind of got in people's faces a little bit and said, it's no point throwing your arms in the air or pointing fingers at someone else. You've got to do your job, because they're a team at the end of the day. And one of the things that we miss massively when Mings doesn't play is that accountability piece, isn't it? It's that kind of leadership, and
for sure,
we've got to look at other players to do it.
For sure. For me, there's only 2 leaders currently, and that's the goalkeeper and our centre back. Possibly Ashley Young as well, to be fair to him at times. But when Mings isn't on the pitch, he does orchestrate the defence. He does shout. He does tell people where to position themselves, and also in the air, he wins everything. You can't deny that with Tyrone Mings. He's an animal in the air, and when he's not there, you just see it missing. It's missing big time, and players are out of position all over the place. And I thought that was a huge thing in the first half. Lack of communication.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, mate, thank you so much for joining me on this pod. No problem. Do you want to just shout out your channel, mate, and tell everyone where they can find you, mate?
Yeah, Penno channel on YouTube. Just talk all Villa, really, match reactions and match previews, that sort of stuff. So, yeah, if you want to check me out, I'll be happy for you to do so. So,
great stuff.
Cheers.
Great stuff. No problem. And as I said before, we are that close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you are tuning in for the first time, exactly. If you tune in for the first time, if you haven't yet subscribed, then please do hit that subscribe button. Please do hit the like button as well. We've had some amazing support from our viewers, including Penno, everyone else. So it's great to see, and lots of more stuff to come with the channel. More of this. I really like this. I hope to get more supporters on to have their say on the game as well. So yeah, it'll be great to have you on, and we've got Talking Tactics coming up in the week with Gareth, which I'm sure will be interesting. Match preview for Arsenal, and then any other Villa news. And, sorry, Penno, we've got to shout out the women's team as well. I hate doing this last because it feels like an afterthought.
Should be the first thing we do.
Yeah, 6-2 win. Jordan Nobbs with a hat-trick. Up to 5th in the table. We should be talking about them, mate. They're absolutely flying.
Things like Jordan Nobbs, she got that England call up, got called up to the squad, and then suddenly thought, I'm going to turn it on today as well after that. So, yeah, great result. Fantastic. I think they're up to 5th now, aren't they?
Yeah, up to 5th. Yeah, in the next round of the Cup as well, the FA Cup, we've got West Ham. So, absolutely flying. So, I'd like to do a show up about the women's team, to be fair, but that'll come soon. But yeah, Penno, absolutely great having you on, mate.
Cheers, Rich. Thanks for having me on.
Please subscribe, get us to 1K, and we'll see you in a week. Remember, we'll follow the